Trying to get the links out there.
Yo, and I think the Knicks play tonight too, don't they?
No, they play tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow? Oh, yeah. Yo, you know the Knicks. I mean, you know the Giants. Yo, they was trying to get Dante Smith, bro.
I know they tried, bro.
Yo, they were set, bro. That's why and whoever traded up right in front of them must have knew it. Who was it? Was it Philly? Nah, not Philly. Who was it who traded up to get him? They knew that Giants wanted them. That was Giants' dude, and they missed out on him. The dude they got though, they said is pretty good though. But it's funny though because it's funny how Heisman Trophy winners. You would figure the Heisman Trophy winner would usually kind of like go first. But in football, they ain't never been like that, really. You know, just because you won a Heisman Trophy don't mean nothing, really. To tell you the truth. Look at Charlie Ward. Even though Charlie Ward chose basketball, he didn't even get drafted, I don't think.
Yeah, he was nice in college too. Did you get the link I sent you?
Let me check.
Yep.
My bad. I think I got it.
Yes, sir. No, that's nah.
I'm trying to find the totally different oh, am I looking at the video?
Yeah, you probably looking at the YouTube. That's what I said.
Yeah, hold on for a second. Yeah, I get in the live.
Then they send you another link. The second link that I'm getting ready to send you is to the Zoom room. The first one is for YouTube. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear my own phone. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Oh. I got to time out right quick and make a phone call. Call you right back.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to link right back in.
Right. So, speak to everybody that's in the room. If you're here, have to link up with my brother real quick. Sorry, y'all. So, yeah, I got a late start. So, as you see, I'm just sitting here just chilling right now. About to get on, knock out with my guys. You know, we're gonna talk sports. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I can't wait, can't wait. So, as y'all know, my boys, my Knicks, are pretty much doing their thing. We are fourth place right now. There's a lot of questions that was asked. One question that was asked was, where do I think that they're going to land at the end of the season? As long as we're anywhere between the 4th and 6th seed, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. I feel that we're probably going to land somewhere between 4th and 5th. Boston's been playing pretty good. Atlanta's been up and down, so they could drop. They could drop. I don't have my other computer. I usually have 2 computers, so I can actually do a little bit more. But we're usually number 4. We're 4th. Not we're usually number 4. We're 4th. The one thing that I'm excited about is that this team has been playing so hard, bro. I mean, they've been playing hard. This next road trip that we have, I'm really, really, really hoping that they could step it up. If we go, 500 on this trip, I'm happy. I'm happy. We got. I want to say some of the hardest, probably the hardest road trip in the league right now. But I can't wait. I can't wait, bro. I can't wait till the end of the season to see where we land. How do I feel where we're gonna land? I'm excited. I can't wait. You know what I mean? I know we play Phoenix, even though we just played them, and they just barely won. We played Phoenix. We played the Clippers. We played the Lakers. We played Denver. Like, we got probably the hardest schedule coming up. We got a back-to-back coming up. We got a back-to-back coming up. And, yeah. Special. Yeah. We're excited. What's name is still going on right now? What's name is still going on right now? The NFL draft. I know I can't get my words out right now. I think we're faring pretty decent. The drop downs were unexpected because our general manager doesn't normally draft backwards. He usually trades forward or stays where he's at. He never goes backwards. So that was kind of unexpected. So for us to get what we got, though, we got a lot of draft picks out of this draft, man. And I'm just excited at the fact that, you know, we're getting some of the prospects that we probably wouldn't have gotten because we're getting more of picks, you know. We're able to move up, move around, do some things, trade up, trade down. We've been trading down so far, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. You know, I think that it's key for the success that we're looking for. You know what I mean? Because we didn't get it. So by us not getting a quarterback, I think that it has to do more. You know what I mean? We have to do more. Yo, what up, bro? Your audio's off, so I don't hear you. I just see your name right now. I know you're working on the audio. Yeah, so just to get the amount of draft picks that we've acquired through the trade, trading down, I think that it was essential, man. Like we definitely needed it. You know what I'm saying? It was a must, in other words. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I can't wait for next season. Last season, we held our own. We could have did more. We held our own. You know, like I said, we could have did more. You know, but yeah, yeah. I'm just excited. I'm just excited. My brother's trying to get in. He's trying to get his audio together. I don't hear him yet, but he'll pop in sooner or later. You know. So, but jeez, I got the family over, so my wife and them, they don't know how to be low. They can't talk low. They gotta talk like super high. Their voices carry, bro.
Yo, bro, I'm in the same situation.
God, no. I'm cool. I'm cool. We all good right here. Now watch, man. When I start getting loud, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, jeez Louises! Oh my God, you make it, bro. You know, I'm trying to do this show, and you still. And I try to separate myself. So it's all good. It's all good. But back to my Knicks. So knowing that we have the schedule that we have left, you know what I'm saying? Like our schedule is crazy coming up. Like I said, if we could just go 500 on the schedule, I'm happy. I'm happy. I think we're gonna land number 4. The thing is, if we go above 500 and those top 3 teams have a shaky ending to their season, well, we could wind up second or third. Like, it's that crazy. It's that crazy. You know? So, because right now we're only, 2.5, 3 games behind Milwaukee. Milwaukee's number 3. So, it's not that far fetched that we can land number 3. You know? And honestly, I put my team up against any team in the East. Any team in the East. I think we can match up with any team in the East, including the Nets. And everybody's like, yo, the Nets got a third. Yeah, but I could put myself up against any team in the East, bro. Any team in the East, man. I'm that excited about my Nets to the point where even if they lose in the playoffs, they gave me that excitement for the entire year. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. But I'll be even more happy if they make it to the second round. I'll be elated if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm crying every day, bro. I mean, tears down the side of my face if they make it to the finals. If they win, yo, I'll probably wear Nick jersey to work every single day over my uniform. Yeah. But yeah, I hear you, bro.
You got me, bro? Oh, you hear me? Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure because I know I was in the dark.
I'm sorry, bro. I was just in my nick right.
I was in the dark for a minute, and I wasn't sure if you heard me.
Nah. We had you. We got you. We was talking about placement as far as the playoffs. Where do I think the Knicks is going to win? You know.
Yeah, and I think we currently 4 right now. And just think about it, the amount of games we lost last second, or where we didn't hit it, or someone hit it within the last seconds, or we lost by 2 or 3 points, or we had a lead and we just had that horrible third quarter, which I was telling one of my bros, if we can make it out of the third quarter without being crazy bad, we got a shot. That third quarter just do us in, man. To me, the third quarter determines what a good portion of the outcome of the game. I don't care if we got a 20-point lead or a 20-point deficit. In the second quarter, it's that third quarter, man, that's going to determine what we're going to do, and then with our bench. But if we shooting, we always in every game if we shooting. And the last loss was indication of when your shot goes bad, that 5-minute lapse, man, they lost the game on that last 4 and some change minutes. They had a hellfire game to that last 4 minutes, man. They couldn't buy a basket, Then Julius reverted to last year. Julius, I guess he, trying to force it, and he got to stop trying to spin in the middle, man. And he got like them butterfingers. Like, who else had those butterfingers, man? Smack his hand, man. He's losing the ball. I forgot another Knick player. Like, oh, he touched his dude's hand, man. He's losing the ball. And they used to say, Ewan used to have small hands for a big dude, but I don't recall him. You knocking the ball out of his hands. But Julius.
But the funny thing about you know me. At the beginning of the season, I tell anybody, Julius, for me, had to go.
Last year, bro, I was done with him.
Yo, he had to go. I was like, yo, this way he gonna play, he's got it. Yo, if you can't play team ball, you got to go, my man. Like,
bro, I was done with him last year, but I came around when I started seeing him playing team ball, and that's just how good. When you get a coaching system, maybe it's respect. Maybe that's part of it, that I can respect this coach. But when you get that coach that, get the players to buy in, that's a big part of it, And he brought in, and who would have thought? Well, we knew he can score, but I didn't know the other aspects of his game that he possessed,
Yeah.
And so, he definitely proved me wrong.
Well, I never said that, and I say this about LeBron. I used to say this about Jordan. Yo, it's not that I don't think that they're talented. I think that they're talented. It just, I'm not a fan of their type of game. know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't a fan of Giannis because I wasn't a fan of Giannis. I'm not a fan of Giannis because I'm not a fan of LeBron. I think he's talented.
Yeah.
You know, the that fire with the guy. And then when Randall came, it was like, okay, let me see what he can do. I gave you ample opportunity. I didn't give you a season after season. I gave you ample opportunity. And yo, every single day he was playing Randall ball. He wasn't playing New York Knicks ball. He was playing Randall ball. So beginning of this season, I was like, yo, he gotta go, bro. He can't do the same thing he's been doing all this time. Like, he's got to go, my man. Like, I don't have no, but
I was like, yo, get rid of him with the swiftness.
word.
Like, glad you only signed him to a 2-year contract.
No, I was entertained with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least I know definitely one thing though for us as New York Knicks fans and the New York Knicks period, if we can get another legit all-star, is all we missing. Another go-to cat that's like teams kind of like have to feel like they got a double, you know? Because the only one on the Knicks they feel they got a double is him, you know. But when you got another person that you can't afford the double one, like the Nets got the ultimate, man. When they all three of them play together, you better not dare try to double nail one of them. And I don't even know if playing a zone would help to compete with them. The only thing is, can you outscore them? Which 98% of the time you're not going to outscore them. And if you don't have a bona fide defense, you're not even in the game. You know what I'm saying?
And in today's basketball, I was just talking to Captain the job. We were talking to Garcia, the dispatcher at the job, right?
Oh, Garcia.
So I was saying, the game that's played today in basketball, to me, it's worse. I'm sorry. I mean, it's more paced, you know, it's a little more energetic. There's a little more energy input into the game nowadays. But there's no defense. You know what I mean? Way too nice to each other. I'm sorry. Back in the day, let you get knocked down by, or let another player get knocked down by your team, and you go over there to pick them up. Yo, your team is putting you down. You understand what I'm saying? They grab you by your neck.
I remember on Boston was playing. Who was they playing? I don't know if you remember the big redhead kid. What was his name? Joe something. Joe. He was like a bronzy type of guy, redhead center. Joe something. I can't remember his last name. Somebody on Boston knocked the player down, and they was going to give him a hand, and he pushed the teammate away and got on his case. Yeah.
Buck wasn't having that, bro.
I can't show my time on him.
There was a time when Adrian McDaniel had knocked some.
Only because I got bad hips.
And he went to pick him up, and next thing you know, John Starks came over like, nah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up, but John Nelson, John Starks like, nah, don't pick him up.
So sometimes, you'll get to go to some cats. It's funny because some teams don't even want you to help them. Like some cats will stick their hands out, they just brush them off and don't even look at them. And not that I don't need your help, bro. My team got me.
You're supposed to be the executioner of the squad, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be going around picking dudes up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Nah, you, Mason, Oakley, y'all the executioners of the squad, bro. When you knock somebody down, you're supposed to let them feel it.
Word. Don't come back. Don't come back in the middle like that again, or suffer the consequences.
Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Lou Bowl, them dudes used to vacation every year with their families. Together. But when they got on the court, yo, that's your team. This is my team. This is my family for the whole 82 games. I don't fool with you like that.
Yeah, but it's but you know what? But you know what I think hurt that kind of camaraderie of his team before everything. AAU basketball, bro. These dudes get to play with people in people all over, you know, and they develop those friendships.
We had that back in the day, dude. It's temperament, man. Like dudes just off, man. Cause even with the AAU,
you know what? But you know what? Before AAU really became, you know, it just used to be basketball. I forgot what the name they called it back then. But you know, that was during the days of the Gauchos, Brooklyn USA, Riverside, Panthers. You know, when you had organized teams, you know, those type of teams, it was different. That was different, bro, than AAU. You know, AAU became more. It wasn't like team structured. It's not team structured like say, because you got, at least I think back in them days, man, like you had at least, I don't know, I just don't know what, it's different now, like the way these guys are playing. And I think that might too be, some of it might be that now you got the AAU teams, yo, bro, at grade school level. You know what I'm saying? So these dudes is feeling like, because they made it there, it's a God gift and given that they're going to keep moving up in the program and to the next level. And a sense of entitlement, so which comes with the cockiness. You know, it's nothing wrong with having confidence, but when you got the cockiness, that's, you know, I don't know. And I say that to say too, because when I was talking to Ra yesterday, I was asking, Jace went up to Pennsylvania to play in a tournament. Mind you, Jace is playing with the big boys. He's not playing with his age group. He's playing with the big boys and handling his own. Matter of fact, I think their last game, he scored 24 out of the, I think 30 something points. And he's playing against, he's a freshman. He's playing against sophomores and juniors, you know, and established team. The team that he's on, this team is Cuzzo. All right, good to see you, man. Love you, baby. All right, love you, sweet. All right, saying goodbye to the family. All right, okay. See you later. All righty. Mm-hmm. All right, see y'all later. See, we doing the pleasantries. Yeah. Oh, so I forgot my thought, bro. But yo, I'm about to go covert. I'm gonna be listening in while me and the wife travel back to the crib. She said I wasn't paying attention. I'm about to go walk in somebody's door in my apartment. Yo, so bro, I'm about to go covert on the video, but I'm gonna be listening in though. You heard me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, bro. All right. Hopefully I get to the crib before it's too late.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so as we was talking about, you know, how for me personally, it's fake. I don't like guys picking dudes up off the ground. I don't like them shaking hands. None of that. You know what I mean? So I'm one of the bad boys from back in the day as far as that's concerned. So
I see the call.
huh? yeah, we try. Well, I've been trying to, hold my tongue on this new basketball system. The rules to me is trash. That's number one. You know, the new rules, I can't. But you know what I mean, man. The league is going. You know, trying to, trying to sneak a little bit. I've been running all day, so y'all gotta excuse me. But anyway, so yeah, the draft is going on, and yeah, my team is beasting right now, so I'm happy about that. You know, I'm trying to get my little bit of what's name in right now. My boy is on his way back to the crib. You know, so we got a guest coming in. Hopefully, a little bit later on. Finishing up a set right now. So as soon as he finishes his set, we're supposed to have another guest next week. And I'm working on a few guest spots for a few different people. So you gotta bear with us, man. You know, the pandemic didn't help our situation out none, but we still trying to do what we gotta do. You know what I mean? Um, my boy Jazz is like, yo, I'm here. I know you're here, bro. We got you. We got you. Um, we didn't talk about Cornball that was convicted for killing George Floyd. Um, Text coming in crazy, but I'm glad that he was convicted. I hope they put him in jail. You know, that's key. I hope they put him in gym pop. You know, and I'm pretty sure skinheads are gonna try to take care of him, but they ain't gonna last for so long. You know, we got a few more people that we gotta look for because there's a lot of people out there, man, that were murdered by these officers every single week. You know what I mean? That was just a really, really popular, well publicized case, but there's tens of hundreds of people out there, man, that's going through the same situation. You know, so we just have to keep ourselves abreast, keep the movement, and hopefully, we can get results. Just like that, you know. Um, we didn't really get a chance to properly get our salutations in. Shock G. We gave our condolences to the family. We tried to play some of their music last week and we got cut off by Facebook. So we're gonna play the music, So but once again, our condolences to the family. Hope that as the days go on, their burden will be lifted. You know, so, but back to our normal progress, which is sports and music. Oh, and the other thing is, I found out that we should be getting 2 guest spots. I kind of want to tell y'all, but I really don't want to tell y'all. Um, not next week, the week after. Hopefully, hopefully I'll be able to give y'all a little more of an update, next week. My my brother, will be back on shortly. He's riding with his queen right now back to Long Island. So shout out to my family. So the other question I was asked a little while ago, guys, listen. I know some of y'all are watching, and if you have a question, put it in the comments. Hit the chat, please. I'm trying to watch my phone and look at you guys at the same time.
Oh no, in that apartment building,
it's easier for me just to answer the question as I see it on the screen. Just text it, type it. Same way you texting me, you know what I mean? In a live text. It's easier. Plus everybody else get to see it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway. The question is, if this is not even a question for me. If the Knicks make the playoffs and lose in the first round, do they clean house? Listen. How would they? Well, first of all, why would they clean house when the house that they just had just got them to the playoffs? We haven't been to the playoffs in over 10 years. Why would you clean house? You want to build on a foundation that you have. So why would you clean house when you trying to build on what you have in front of you? You need other pieces? Yes, I agree. We need other pieces, but clean house? Now y'all just trying to annoy me as a Knicks fan, okay? Because this is actually coming from a Laker fan, okay? And look, I already know if we play the Lakers I put money on that. Lakers are not going to win the chip this year. They play us. If they play the Nets, if they play Milwaukee, they might win the chip. They're not winning the chip off of us. Now, I'm not disrespecting the Nets because I'll be honest with you, I like the Nets. I can't stand Net fans. Okay, there's a difference. I like the Nets, the team. I like the Nets. It's Net fans that get on my nerves. Okay, they're the ones that take it too far. I could actually probably watch every single Net game and be just as content. But it's when I talk to the Net fans, bro, I'm telling you, if I had the powers, I could just bring you out to another universe, I would. Just for the night. So it's not the Nets that I don't like. It's just like LeBron. I respect his talent. I just don't like LeBron. Everybody say, "Oh, how could you not like LeBron?" The same way I don't like Jordan. You know, I respect his talent. I just don't like Jordan. You know, now Kobe was a different beast. Even though he played like Jordan, he was a different person. I could respect Kobe more than I could respect Jordan. You know what I mean? That's just me. But to be honest with you, I honestly don't like LeBron. He's dedicated to nobody but himself. He's proven that time and time again. And LeBron fans keep sucking up to this dude. Like, I don't understand. Yo, once he win a chip, if he feel like it ain't going his way, I'm out. He did it in Cleveland. He went to Miami, won a couple of chips. They didn't give him what he wanted. I'm out. He go to Cleveland. He win a chip. They didn't give him what he wanted. I'm out. You think he's not going to do the same to the Lakers? Please. The minute LeBron feels like it's not about him, he's out. So, no, I don't want LeBron on the Knicks. You know what I mean? At all. Ever. I felt good the first time he was like, oh, I might come to the Knicks. I was like, yeah, that would be good. You know, when he did that whole, it take him a week to figure out what he want, and then we had to do this whole ESPN thing and figure out what LeBron wanted to do and come to New York and let New Yorkers shower him with all of his love and the team give him all of the stuff that he wanted, and then go on TV and say, I'm going to South Beach. Ever, never, ever got to worry about me thinking about you as a player on this team ever again. And if he ever came to this team, I might take a hiatus. That's how much I don't like LeBron. So you understand. The people that know me know I'm an avid Knicks fan. They know I'm an avid Knicks fan. You know? Look, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. I can't. These teams, bro. And I felt the same way about Jordan. But the one thing about Jordan, and this is why, first of all, I don't like having a goat talk. Don't goat talk me about LeBron, please. It annoys me to no end. First of all, LeBron won mad chips, not as much as Jordan. LeBron had to do it with most of it with high profile teams. Jordan put his team together. You know what I mean? There's a difference. He made his team better to win those chips. There's a difference. And besides all that, before you even get to Jordan, everybody always skips Kobe. Like, I don't understand. Kobe had chips with one team. One team. And then all that, their team better. Man, you can never bypass.
Pick it up for Miles, 20 Miles.
Never ever bypass. The never ever bypass Kobe before
20 Miles, those only 2.
You know? So you good if you want to have the GOAT talk, but you got to GOAT talk LeBron and Kobe before you talk with the GOAT talk LeBron and Jordan. Just because he has more points than Jordan does not make him a GOAT. Kareem has more points than Jordan. I'm just saying. So you're going to GOAT talk LeBron and Jordan? I mean, LeBron and Kareem? Because that's the point you're going to pull. Let's talk it. Bro. All I'm saying is that I respect LeBron's game. I do. I do. I respect him to the fullest. I'm not a fan. And honestly, I have never been a fan. There's way too many people that play hard. And don't get me wrong, LeBron makes some of his teams better. He does. He does. I ain't gonna front. But that's respecting his game. That's just respecting his game. You know what I mean? LeBron is LeBron? Nah. It's a totally different person. Totally different person. So no, I'm not a LeBron fan at all. At all. So I'm just saying. If I had to choose, first of all, I don't think the Lakers is coming out of the West anyway. I don't think they're going to make it past the conference finals. They might not even make it past the second round. But they're definitely not coming out of the West. So the question now is, and I know I'm going to get it. I'm probably going to beat y'all to it. Don't even type it. Don't even text it to me. I don't even want to see it on my phone. So who's coming out of the West, right? I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to sound really crazy. It's either going to be Portland or Phoenix. That's just me. Portland is actually playing hard. And if they get to where they was at the end of last year and improve on that, they're the hardest team to beat. If they don't, then I think it's going to be Phoenix. I just feel like Phoenix has it all. You know what I mean? I feel like they have enough firepower. Sorry. I'm getting so many daggone texts. I can't even see them all, number one. And I'm trying to see them and read them, and I can't even see them and read them. Oh, yeah. So I missed this, number one. Jazz made a good point. Dr. DJ, he didn't have an MJ or LeBron on his first or second team. So we all know he won his ship, you know. But I don't know. I just think that Phoenix is going to be a hard team to beat. They are beatable though. That's the thing. They are beatable. I think it's going to be either. I mean, that's my pick right now. I think it's going to be either Portland or Phoenix. No, I don't think it's going to be Denver. I think Utah is going to shoot themselves in the foot between the first and second round. Remember back in the day when who was it? It's a little dark. Come on, Dwayne, get it together. It was not. It wasn't Portland. Was it that one? Dallas. I'm sorry, Dallas. Remember how Dallas was winning 60-something games, 70 games, and lose in the first round? That's what I feel about Utah. I think Utah is going to shoot themselves in the foot first, second round. And I don't think Denver's going to make it. I think they're going to be a second or conference finals team. Yeah, I still don't have the faith in the Clippers yet, bro. I would want to say Paul George and Kawhi should be the tandem to beat, but they're beatable. that's the bad part. They're beatable. So yeah, I don't think they're going to make it. I think it's going to be either Portland or Phoenix conference finals with either the Lakers or Denver. That's how I feel about those two. East Coast, it's a little more trickier. East Coast is it's definitely not going to be Milwaukee. That's crazy because Milwaukee should be that team. Should be. The Nets, after they stacked up all the talent in the league, like everybody ran to the Nets. Everybody should be the team. But they're beatable. That's the bad thing. They're beatable. It's not like they got all this talent and it's like, yo, these dudes are just unbeatable. Like, who's going to beat them in a 7-game series? These dudes is beatable. You know what I mean? So, who do I pick for the East? I know this is going to sound crazy, right? I know y'all are probably going to be like, yo, Sax is begging. But Philly, the Knicks, and or the Nets. And I say and or because the funny thing about it is Boston is in that mix. I can't stand Boston. Out of any team in this entire league, bro, I don't care who's on it. That green and white irks my nerves. When I say irks my nerves, I'm talking about I cannot stand Boston since Larry Bird days. With a passion. I hate Boston. Not just the Celtics. I can't stand the Red Sox. Okay? I'm just saying, like, I can't stand New England. It's something about that state that breeds these teams that irk my nerves. So, but Boston is in that mix. I got to keep it funky with y'all. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I could see Boston making it through the first round, unless they play the Knicks. Making it through the second round, unless they play the Knicks. And then maybe the Eastern Conference Finals, unless they play the Knicks. You know? Facts, Jazz. It's the truth. Like, yo, defense is key. You want to know why the Knicks are so successful? Their coach is defensive minded. Not only is he defensive minded, but he hired Mike Woodson, who's a defensive minded coach, which, by the way, accepted a head coaching job at his old alma mater. I forgot what it was, but he's now a head coach on a college team. Congratulations to Mike Woodson. You know what I mean? But most of the assistants on the Knicks are defensive-minded people. So it's easy to breed defense. I mean, they don't have the most stellar, but they're at the top of the league in defense. The Nets have a problem with that. That's why I say that the Nets are beatable. Okay? Yeah, they got the offense, but if you ain't stopping nobody and they matching your offense and they getting a couple of stops, you're beatable. I know a lot of people think that I'm talking too much. I'm a little too high on my team, but One, it's been 10 years since we've looked fairly decent, and we look fairly decent. It's been years since we've had decent defense, and we have decent defense. Um, but out of everything that we just talked about, all the teams that we just mentioned, who's going to do what, and whatever the case may be, my team, and there's very few teams in the league that have that, but my team believes in everybody playing next to them. They believe in their teammates. Yo, they are excited for the next man next to them. That type of motivation will breed success no matter where you go if you're that type of person, player. That's my team. You know what I mean? That's my team. So, yeah, I think they can go far if they believe in the system, play D, and believe in the man next to them. It's going to breed a lot. It's going to breed a lot, you know. So, oh man, son, when I say I'm excited, when I'm saying I'm excited for these playoffs, I can't wait for the regular season to end. I really can't. Like I'm super excited. And like I said before, even if we how can I say it? Even if we lose in the playoffs, if we lose in the playoffs, I'm good. Like, because I'm looking forward to next season. What are we doing? Can we talk about D Rose? Yo, can we give him because Cats was counting him out completely. D Rose is balling right now. And don't even care if he's coming off the bench. But he's making the best of his situation. Yo, I'm excited for this dude. When I tell you I'm excited for my Knicks, I want y'all to understand just how excited I am. You know what I mean? But same way I tell you I can't stand Boston, I'm super excited about my Knicks. Okay? And that honestly, I don't hate teams. I just don't like them as a team, but I don't hate teams. I hate Boston. I don't care who's on it. When Paul Pierce and all them went to Boston, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, Boston got a squad. I hate Boston. I like Paul Pierce. I like Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen. I like them as players. But when they went to Boston, that aura of hate just surrounded them. You know? It was just like every time I walk past Paul Pierce, I'm smacking him. I'm gonna knock that tooth loose that was just that he had knocked out and replaced. You know? But I hate Boston. I hate the Patriots for obvious reasons. You know, I definitely hate the Red Sox. I definitely, especially after the time they took our chip away. So, but I digressed. Hold on a second. Let me get myself back. Okay, let's get back to our original conversation, which was how successful my Knicks are and why everybody should be a Knicks fan. I should never see any other jersey on except for a New York Knicks jersey. You know, that would be a beautiful thing for me. You know, just walk by, high five the next guy, because you know he's a Knicks fan. You know, my Giants, huge Giant fan. I've been, I don't want to say since I started watching basketball. I watched basketball because of uh, the doctor. And I heard of other players, you know, not that I didn't hear of other players, whatever the case may be. I just There was something about him that I really enjoyed. And then the following year, that was the first year I started watching basketball. That's when he came to the league. That following year, um, I started watching. You know, I always say, "Oh, what's the team is for New York? Like, who's, you know?" And I started watching the Knicks. I've been an avid Knicks fan forever. When I tell y'all that, I want y'all to understand. You know, I remember when I met my wife. It seemed like the only thing that was ever on TV was the daggone Lakers, Boston, Philadelphia, Detroit. You know, so I used to love watching James Worthy. James Worthy was my guy um, on the Lakers. And as y'all see, I put my phone down. So if you're texting me again, because I hear my phone buzzing, I'm not answering any questions right now. You got to hold on a second, man. I told y'all, go to the live chat and talk. But James Worthy was my guy. You know what I mean? Um, he was like, I don't want to say like Jordan to me, but dude was just nasty, man. Nasty. So, you know, they don't hardly ever show my Knicks. You know, they was always disrespectful to my Knicks from day one. And they didn't hardly show any Knicks games. So I watched a little bit of Lakers, you know. Um, and, you know, I would work security or whatever the case may be. And, you know, my wife would be like, oh, girlfriend at the time, but she'd be like, oh, I taped the game for you. Tape the game for me. Which game? Oh, the Lakers, because I know you like the Lakers. So, I watch them because all they show. You know what I mean? You know, Channel 4, Channel 7, you know, they don't show the Knicks. You gotta catch the Knicks on Channel 9. Like, you know, if you can catch them on that. So it was a struggle back in the day, you know. But, you know, you get that daily news early next morning. And you know, you turn to that back page, see if they won or lost. You read that story on how they won or lost. It was like you was there. It was like you was there, you know. So it be what it be, man. But I've been an avid Knicks fan forever. So I'm just saying, I'm talking the talk because I've been through the good, I've been through the bad, I've been through the almost. You know what I mean? So yeah. But 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 so we real clear. I just want y'all to know. Um, as much as I liked watching the Lakers, I couldn't stand them when they played my Knicks. You know what I mean? I couldn't stand them. So, bro, that was me too, dude. I used to read the daily news, man, from back to front. You know what I mean? And then go from front to back just to check and see if I missed anything. You know, I used to get my little 25-cent worth. You know what I mean? So, and that's what the newspaper was back in the day, bro. It was 25 cents. Drop that coin up there, grab it. You know what I mean? Well, I used to take my neighbor's paper. Yo, I used to take my neighbor's paper. He'd get up. Yeah, I used to see him beefing with the news guy. Yo, I didn't get my paper. Everybody got their paper. Blah 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 blah. I delivered it. I don't know. One of your neighbors is taking it. I said, man, ain't nobody taking my paper. You ain't delivering it. I was sitting here watching. Yo, I used to leave for school. Had to be at school for 7:20. I used to leave for school at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that dude dropped that paper off before it hit the ground. I was snatching that joint. So I'm like, and one day, man, I went to go get it, and I saw my neighbor come out to get his paper. He gave me that look like, I've been seeing you, young man. You know, he was one of them guys that used to say young blood. So, I could hear him say, yo, I've been seeing you take my paper, young blood. You know. He was a funny character, man. If I could, man, I would love to sit down, just have another conversation with him, man. My block was crazy. When I first moved on that block, they quote unquote tried to initiate me onto the block. You know, I guess they was trying to act tough, whatever the case may be. Dude, I'm from Brownsville. You dudes is from Queens. I don't know no tough Queens dudes. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I met my brother right here, Tony Miles, and we was talking about stories on how certain things went down with our brothers and stuff like that, that I felt like, this the only dude I know from Queens who has a compatible story to me. Like, I don't know no tough Queens guys. None. You know what I mean? And I know some guys that are shooters and stuff like that or whatever. And even them dudes, I feel like it's soft. You know? Like, I remember going to a party one time, man. When I tell you, for years, I knew this guy. He talked the talk, like trying to act tough, walked around with a 9 and everything and blah, 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 blah. I had a 9. Well, I didn't have a 9. I had a 45, actually. Walked around with a 9 and everything. And, these dudes came at him one day because we was at a party. And we had a party. And, he's talking to the guy's girl, whatever. I mean, he didn't know that was his girl or whatever, talking to the guy's girl. The guy was, got into it with him, but the girl squashed it or whatever. She put it to the side. The idiot goes back to talk to her again. We get outside, and I saw it coming. If I didn't see it, I probably wouldn't be here telling this story. But I saw it coming. Dude started rolling up. My man said, "That's them." And I saw the barrel of the gun going out the window. And before he could let the shot off, I was in flight. I had my 45 behind me, shooting like that. That's how I was going. Because if I didn't do that, I was caught. I'm telling y'all, I'm laid out. I'm laid out. Oh, I'm ashes. Whatever they was going to do with me, they was going to do something with me. I was so tough with it. This dude was hiding behind the car like a little girl. Where's your 9? You pulling that out every time I saw you. Where's it at? So ever since then, man, I never saw that dude the same. Like, like I said, I don't know any tough Queens guys at all. So, yeah, I just don't. I don't. And I've never been one to play like I'm tough. I don't talk tough. I don't do all of that. Whatever the case, I don't do all that talking. I never been one to do all that talking. Bro, we have an argument. It ain't gonna last for so long. I'm gonna tell you now. I ain't getting into no argument with you and continue to argue forever. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. What we doing, bro? I'm just saying, like, either I'm just gonna put your teeth in your bowels, or that's how I feel. Now, we're not doing all that arguing. That's for ladies to do. Let the ladies argue. Guys are not supposed to be sitting there arguing with each other. That's when you know somebody's soft. Man. So, but yeah, I just feel like they trying to initiate me in the block, and like I said, I'm from Brooklyn, so, and I'm not using Brooklyn as that, I'm from Brooklyn, so you better, that's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is that we're not initiating nobody at all. And then once they realized all of that, things was a little different. So they didn't mess with nobody at the crib, none of that. You know what I mean? Because it was an understanding. D's a little psycho. especially when it comes down to his family. Yeah, you mess with my family, bro, it's a wrap for you. I'm not letting up. My foot stay on the gas. Understand that. I stay on the gas. I'm coming hard. Not no, oh, let's talk. Nah, bro, we were supposed to talk before you started messing with my family. We don't talk after. What do you mean? Nah, we're not doing that. My foot stay on the gas. I know. We're supposed to unify. We're supposed to stay together. I want to, man. I do. But when it comes down to the fam, man, it's a different story. It's a different story. But let's get off that. Let's get back to sports where we was at. We digressing right now, man. These are conversations I really like to have sometimes, man. All right. Let's see what they're talking about now. I knew that conversation was going to come up. So, next season, do we try to get quiet? No. I think we would have to give up way too much to get him, number one. Even if we get him in free agency, he would suck up most of the money, so we can't keep certain players. There's nobody on the Clippers that I really want. Not even Kawhi. Yes, Kawhi would be a good acquisition, but Paul George, to me, still hasn't proven that he could be that player. Okay. I don't want to say he's trash just yet, because he balls out during the regular season. He's a regular season guy. He's just not a playoff guy, and that's what you need. You need a playoff guy. If he could switch it and become a playoff guy and be so-so during the regular season, Clippers are going so far. They are going so far, but he's not a playoffs guy. He disappeared in the playoffs. Bro, you scared me. Welcome, everybody.
What's going on?
DC is in the building.
Sorry, I'm listening to the thing and doing this at the same time.
Even though it says Ariane Watson.
Yeah. She was the last one to use my thing. I could just I'm
her or yeah, I don't want to get surprised. You know what I mean? So I said, man, let me just click this. Maybe, yeah. DC is in the building.
There we go.
What's for a good minute, bro? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, I was on the question that was asked, and I have people that just keep texting me instead of actually going into the group chat. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't understand why they text me instead of going to the group chat to ask the questions.
No, it doesn't make much sense, because then they would have to leave the app to go to their text to text you, or they could just ask on YouTube.
Preach, my brother. Preach. I've been saying this for the longest. If you watch the video for later on, you're going to be like, oh, he did say it. Yeah, I did say it. And they keep texting me. The question that was asked was, end of the season, should the Knicks try to acquire Kawhi?
At the end of this season? That's a good question. I mean, the answer is complicated. I've been sort of advocating among my group of friends that the Knicks should try. mainly because Kawhi is he's gonna be like he has an option. So because he has a player option, he could technically leave the Clippers.
Yeah.
But in order for that to happen, I think something disastrous would have to happen. Like the Clippers would have to get bounced in like round 1, for that to happen. Like if they make the conference finals, which is probable. If they make the conference finals, there's no way he leaves because then I feel like they could improve and then, make another run at it next year. But if they lose in like the first round and it's like Kawhi or Paul George are like really bad in the playoffs, then
It's going to be really bad.
Well, we don't know. Paul George has had a pretty good regular season. I know playoffs are different, but
like I know, Paul George is a monster in the regular season.
Yeah, he is.
In the postseason, he's not to be seen.
Yeah, but like I said, it really is up to Kawhi because if he decides he wants to leave because something really bad happened with the team, then he has the option to leave. Now, whether the Knicks go after him, because honestly, I think he's going to decline anyway. He's going to decline the player option so he can restructure a new deal. Just like I think in my opinion, I think Julius Randle should leave the Knicks, but that's another conversation for another day. Or today, I don't know. I've held this belief all year. People think I'm crazy, but to be honest, I don't know if the Knicks are the right situation for Randle. I know they're the Knicks are the most comfortable situation for Randle right now. And granted, I felt this way before the Knicks had their run this year, and the Knicks have done very well for themselves. I'm not taking that from them. They had a better year than anybody expected.
So y'all understand, so we're real clear. This is one of the Net fans that I've been trying to tell y'all about. Okay.
I'm a sports fan. We'll say that. But I said at the beginning of the season, I said Julius Randle should leave the Knicks. He should go. In my opinion, I thought the best place for him would have been somewhere like Sacramento, who I believe Sacramento is going to be a really good team in like a year, even 2. And the reason I said Sacramento is because it reminded me of when Zach Randolph left the Knicks and wound up going to Memphis. And then he went to Memphis. He had Mike Conley. He had Rudy Gay. He had a young team, and they did good. Zach Randolph going to Sacramento, that you have De'Aaron Fox, you have Harrison Barnes, Tyrese Halliburton, you have a bunch of like young good players that all they.
One good thing about his situation was the front office and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say. And you remember, we've had this conversation quite a bit. I was adamantly wanting Zach Randolph, Julius Randolph to be traded or to leave.
Most Knicks fans did, as most Knicks fans are. Well, I get it.
It was more because of his type of play last year. He's playing completely different than what he was doing.
Very true. I mean, if you look at his play last year, I think because he came off the year in which he had with New Orleans, the Knicks leaned on him way too much. RJ wasn't as good of a player as he is this year. Granted, RJ was a rookie, so you couldn't really hold him to the same expectation as you could this year. I think between that and, in my opinion, the eventual downfall of Mitchell Robinson, which is something I called and everybody said I was crazy for, but the eventual downfall of Mitchell Robinson, I think the Knicks last year just weren't they leaned on Randle too much. Now, compared to this year, he's a much better player. He's shooting fantastically. Better from the line, better from the field, better from the 3. He's assisting more. But all that aside, I still think that Julius Randle could do better somewhere else. I don't know if New York, but he's not going to go anywhere else because now you have Leon, and you have his team over there who sort of could convince him to stay in New York for a longer period of time.
all the reasons that you said he should leave, New York is creating that situation. He has a young team.
Correct. Now they are though. Like
Right.
last year, that wasn't the case. Last year, the Knicks were terrible.
Oh, without question.
And
Without question.
even this year, I think the Knicks are pretty subpar. Like I think who you guys got, you got Derrick Rose, who I like, but I don't know if he holds up long term. You still have yet to address your need at point guard, even though, and you know this, I like Quickly a lot. Even though I like Quickly a lot, I don't know if he addresses your needs at the point guard. And I've been saying this for years. The one thing the Knicks need always is a point guard. So even last year's draft, I was like, man, you guys should trade Mitchell Robinson and try to get higher in the draft to get a point guard, somebody that can really come in. And then you guys missed out. All right, cool. So what the Knicks will eventually do is they'll suck this year. Because honestly, I thought you guys were going to be terrible coming in this year. The odds were stacked against you.
I knew you.
But which is fine because, again, I want the Knicks to be good. So I was like, okay, so the Knicks suck this year. They get Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's a 6'8" point guard. The Knicks should really try to go for him and if they're going to be terrible. Go for Cade, get a 6'8" point guard. You pair him with Julius and RJ, like you have a good team. But here's now where the problem now lies again. Now you lose Mitchell. Because Mitchell, he's a 7-footer with foot problems now because he broke his foot. He already wasn't the most agile player on the court. He was long, which made him defending the perimeter pretty effective, but he wasn't fast. Couple that with the fact that he couldn't stay on the floor because of foul trouble. So now you have this young player who's always getting hurt, who can only score about 2 feet from the basket. Now you have no center. Your center is Nerlens Noel going into the playoffs. When push comes to shove, that's not going to work. So now you need to address another issue, which is now we need a center. And where do we get that? This year, I actually don't know. I don't know if there are any centers coming up in the free agency this year that the Knicks can actually make a run for.
Even if we do get, and I don't think the center position for us is really a catalytic type process that we have to really worry about. I really think that point guard situation is honestly working its way out. And the reason why I say that is because, like you said, I'm all completely out. I've been even when they drafted him. You know what I mean? The knowledge that he's getting, and all the point guards for that matter, even though Peyton is been in the league for a while, and Burke has been here, the knowledge that they're getting from players like D Rose is working its way in an abundance. You can see that in the player quickly and just how fast he's actually grown. How his play is different from day one. If you watch the beginning of the season to now, his play is different.
Sure.
They're all playing different. So what I say that we need to address is the scoring part. I think we need a 2 or 3 that can actually score on an all-star level to match.
I mean, I don't disagree. I definitely think someone besides you need another wing. So in my opinion, the Knicks have 3 needs. They need a point guard still. I like Quickly, but it's his rookie season and he's going to go into year 2. And he could regress. Some rookies do regress a little before they really explode.
Yeah.
So you need to address your point guard situation. You need to address your wing situation. But before your wing situation, in between that, you need to address your center situation. So, like, you guys can make a run at, like, a Kyle Lowry is a free agent this year. You could probably get him because he's a little older. Like, he's 35, which is old. But you could probably give him, like, a 1 or 2 year deal with a club or player option for a second year for a little bit less money. You could probably go for someone like a Mike Conley who's a little younger. But for the most bang for your value, there are two people that I think would be really, three people actually, that probably fit best with New York, and it's going after Spencer Dinwiddie, who even though he's on Brooklyn, and I would hate to see him go, probably would be amazing for you guys.
Why he's going is because I think he feels, and by all means, he's right. I think he feels disrespected.
I don't know if he feels disrespect. He got hurt. He tore his ACL, and last year he averaged 20 points for us. So I just think he knows he's a starter, and I know he's a starter, and Kyrie's in his way. So I believe like it sucked to give up Jared Allen.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to say disrespected in the sense of just ignoring him completely. I just think that he feels disrespected in a way that he thinks he should start. And like you
No,
said,
100%. He should start.
Kyrie is in his way, so he's not starting. And I don't think that he has the mindset of wanting to go back to coming off the bench all over.
Right. Especially if the Nets can win a championship this year, and I say if because nothing's 100% certain. I obviously have like 99.9% confidence in my team that we will win, but nothing's 100% certain. So if the Nets can win a championship this year, then I think he for sure leaves. Like Karis LeVert, like Jared Allen, all three of those guys I knew were starters. I didn't see Allen leaving. It's unfortunate that we got rid of him. And I didn't actually see LeVert leaving either. If anything, I saw Joe Harris probably leaving before Karis LeVert left. And you know how much I like Joe Harris.
I seen that completely the way you just said it, bro. I did not see LeVert leaving. I did not see Allen leaving. I saw Joe Harris leaving.
I saw Joe leaving.
You know what I mean? I actually saw Dinwiddie leaving and be openly traded. You know
Dinwiddie always I thought, especially when his contract was over, he was leaving. Because right now, like I don't understand why Houston didn't act for him, but right now, Dinwiddie could be the starter on about 20 out of the 30 teams in the NBA. Maybe more. Because he's that skilled.
Easy.
And so I think the Knicks would be a perfect, they're rivals, but whatever. I think more than anything, I want him to be able to have a career he wants. And I think New York would be great for that.
It's already New York tested. You know what I mean?
Right.
New York is a hard city. A lot of people don't, they're like, oh, I'm going to New York. It's hard to play in New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's in any sport. That's Yankees, that's the Giants, that's any sport. And when you play in New York is a hard place to play.
You know? It is.
You know, outside of that though, I think that he's New York tested. You know what I mean? I feel that he would be a good fit. You know what I mean? But once again, now we got to get rid of pieces because I think that we would have too much on the guard position for that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I do think you get rid of pieces. I mean, get rid of Frank, get rid of like half the point guards you guys have because none of them are really like all that spectacular. You got rid of Dennis Smith this year, which was great. Like that was a good thing to unload. Like you did not need Dennis Smith.
Dennis Smith to me, and I said this before, we had this conversation. I think Dennis Smith is a talented point guard.
We disagree there.
For whatever reason, he has been in his head when he played for New York. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because he was playing in New York and, you know, the atmosphere, whatever. I don't know. But he had the talent. He had the time. It's like, yo, you get on the floor, you're supposed to shine. Like, this is your time to shine in the mecca of basketball. And
since coming to New York, he was awful. Like, yeah, he was really bad.
He's had a lot of issues. He had a couple of deaths in the family, close people too.
Mm-hmm.
Deaths in the family, and you know, okay. I said, look, he's shook right now. He'll eventually get back into it, but he never did. So you can't keep holding on to a piece that mentally just won't play for you. You know?
Yeah.
So it only made sense. And I wanted him to go to a good market. I wanted him to be able to play. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well, and like I said, the other thing you guys need to address is your wing. So you need a wing. I've been saying this for a while. RJ needs help, and honestly, Knox is not the answer. We've over a couple of years we've learned this. So who's the next best option? Well, Norman Powell's having probably his best year, and he has a player option, and he's with Portland right now. And Portland is a good spot. But I think if I was Norman Powell, I'm 28. I want to be the guy on the team. You know what I mean? Not even if I'm not the guy, I want to be like the 1-2 on a team. Right now, Norman Powell is, having his best year. He's averaging about almost 20 points a game, shooting 40% from three, and 80% from free throw. I come to New York. I have Julius Randle, so I'm number 2. Because honestly, if I'm scoring the ball, I think I put the ball in his hands before I put it in RJ's hands because Powell can shoot. That's the thing. So you give Norman Powell like 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years, about $20 million a year. I think the Knicks can like lock up a solid scorer.
see, that's the thing. I don't think.
And he's an NBA champion. So Norman Powell has one thing that a lot of Knicks players do not, and that is playoff experience.
Well, yeah, he has that. I agree with that. You know what I mean? But I don't think that he's going to be a second option. I think he's going to be a third option.
Who would be before him? Not RJ.
It's going to go to RJ.
I think RJ's development hopefully would make him like that second option eventually, but
He's shown that his development is in progress, but
it's going in the right direction. Let me say that.
definitely skyrocketing for him. You know what I mean? That's why when everybody was talking about, Zion is going to be this type of player and so on and so forth, I'm hoping that Zion Williams doesn't plateau in his second, third year.
Oh, he won't. Zion is not only the player that everybody said he's a better player than everybody said he was going to be. And I'm looking at RJ's stats. There are some downfalls. Obviously, he's playing a whole lot better this year. I wish he could shoot the three a little bit better because he's not shooting it that well.
He's shooting better than he did last year. He's shooting free throws better than he did last year.
No, he's shooting everything better than he did last year. He's just having a better year.
Literally having a good year this year. I don't want to say a great year. He's having a good year this year for him for a second.
But here's where my issue or worry with RJ is, and I know there's a website out there that measures this, so I have to like figure, or it's hard to really look on the fly. But RJ's usage is actually down this year, which is interesting, even though he's played more. But he's getting 4 more minutes this year than he was last year. So obviously, like he's taking 1 more 3 in those 4 minutes, which is fine. You know what I mean? He's shooting 0.07% better from 3 in those 4 minutes. He's shooting just slightly better than his regular field goal in those 4 minutes.
The percentages that you're talking about, what I like about it is, even though he's not shooting way more threes, okay, he's going to the basket a lot. And I like the aggressive nature of going to the basket more than taking a 3. I'd rather intentional 3 than, a 3 that's going to be missed through the air any day.
Yeah.
So, I'm not too worried about like him taking more threes. I just like more of the creativity from him on the floor. That's what I see. For me, those type of plays will get him more points eventually as he starts to, get the touch, the shooting, the drives, all of that stuff is going to come in time. You know what I mean? If he keeps progressing the way he's supposed to progress, sky's the limit for him. You know what I mean? But this is what I say about Zion Williams, and I want the young man to actually skyrocket. But he's doing the same things over and over every single game. And you remember when Jeremy Lin was going through his whole insanity situation? right?
You mean the most disrespected Nick player in a very long time? Yeah.
He himself by saying
He did. It was New York. New York disrespected him so hard.
I'm worth $30 million a year.
You
Since when?
gotta remember, take this into account. Collective bargaining agreement was changing. So when he was coming up for his contract, like 30 million, we look at 30 million now, like, oh yeah, that's like a mid-tier guy. Like 30 million is like what someone like breaking all-star could make. When we talk an all-star and above, it's like they're making like 35, 40 million dollars a year.
Bro, he's not worth the 20 million or whatever it was. I'm sorry.
I think at most he made like his biggest year was like maybe 20. That was only like one season.
But so the point I was trying to make was that once people figured out Jeremy Lin, it wasn't Linsanity no more. He played good games here and there, whatever, but it wasn't Linsanity. Just like, you know, when you get a certain player like Novik from the Knicks, always shooting from the corner, but he was killing him.
Yeah, there are a couple of things with the Jeremy Lin thing that I think people have to take into account, and that's one, he was super young at the time, really young kid, and in New York put a lot of pressure on him. But that's for a different story. Two, he
wasn't like he was a rookie. He played on several teams.
No, he only had played on one team up until that point. It was the Warriors, and he was just like a he was a new kid. It was like his second year, I think, when he came to the Knicks, second or third year when he wound up coming to the Knicks. Hold on, he came to the Knicks his second year. Yeah, it was only one season. Second year, he was 23, a young kid, have to deal with New York. But I think he goes then to the West, which, unlike the East, has infinitely better guards. Like the East has good guards. In 2011, around that time, I think it's right before LeBron and them come, or like right when LeBron leaves. The East has good guards, has decent guards, but the West has like they have Lillard, they have Westbrook, they have Mike Conley, they have
Defensively better squads over there that can actually
100%.
Better. I get it.
If he would have stayed with New York, however, I genuinely think he would, because when you look at his stats, genuinely look at like Jeremy Lin's stats for his career, especially after he left New York, they weren't that bad. He averaged about 14-5, and he was making, hold on, I'll tell you right now, because this is a conversation I have a lot with friends. Jeremy Lin, because I genuinely believe the NBA created this narrative about him that wasn't true, that he made a whole lot of money and wasn't an effective player. And unfortunately, I think that's a narrative that people like sort of held on to. So the year he played with the Knicks, right? Mm-hmm. He made just under $800,000, right? So then he goes to the Rockets, and people are like, "Oh my God, they gave him this contract. He's overpaid." Okay, that's fair, I guess. If you sort of want to dwindle it down to that. After he plays with the Rockets, he signs a 3-year deal, right? Mm-hmm. Worth $25 million. And the thing is, here's the thing, Pop. When people get mixed up, they go 25 million. He's not worth 20, but he didn't make 25 million a year. His first year in Houston, he made 5, which is small. Second year in Houston, he makes 5.2. But because his contract was backloaded for Houston, it was a 3-year contract, it was backloaded. Houston then dumps that contract to the Lakers. Remember, he gets traded to the Lakers, and the Lakers wind up paying him $14 million because of the Houston mistake. But even then, in the year that it was 2014, 2015, he's playing with, I think he's still playing with Kobe, right? Jeremy Lin averages 11-5 almost. And it doesn't have the greatest year ever. All right, fine. but in my opinion, still not overpaid. The NBA like collective bargaining agreement gets done over. He makes $2 million the next year in Charlotte and comes to Brooklyn and makes 11. Like Jeremy Lin doesn't make a lot of money. I think people think he made a lot of money because of that one contract he signed with Houston. Jeremy Lin did not make a lot of money.
Yeah, but that was his biggest contract. That $25 million for the 3 years. That was his biggest, you know. But you got to remember also, Jeremy Lin was injured.
He was. That was a big issue too.
So a lot of people was like, I'm not willing to put a lot of money into this young man if he constantly stays. Because look, when you look at his stats, the first full year that he had was when he played with the Rockets. The second year.
He played the first year he played with the Rockets. He played 82 of 82 and started 82 games.
No, the first year he got injured. Remember, the second game of the year, he only played 2 games for the Rockets.
No. I'm looking at it now. I think you're thinking of the Nets. He got injured in game 2 of playing with the Nets.
He got no.
And his first year with the Rockets is 2012, 2013.
Right. He played the full year.
He plays the full year.
2011, 2012.
He plays with the Knicks.
2011.
2012, he's with the Knicks.
With the Knicks.
Yeah. And remember, he doesn't really start until like after All-Star break or like right before All-Star break is when he really starts. That Linsanity week happens.
Right.
And then he started getting hurt. The following year in Houston, he played 71 games, but they don't start him as much. I think that's because they got Chris Paul. I'm not sure when Chris Paul went to the Rockets. Did Chris Paul comes to the Rockets in 20? He comes to the Rockets in 20. Oh, actually, he doesn't come to the Rockets until 2017. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know who's starting over Jeremy Lin. But my whole argument is that people say that Jeremy Lin was overpaid and that he didn't deserve the money. And truth be told is you make these investments in sports players all the time, not knowing that they're gonna get hurt. So when the Rockets gave him that contract, even the first year, Jeremy Lin's completely healthy. You can't surmise by year 2 he's going to continuously get hurt. And even then, he doesn't really get hurt a lot. Like, he still plays 71 games for the Rockets the following year, 74 for the Lakers, 78 for Charlotte. His first big injury is with Brooklyn in 2016, where he starts the year off pretty well. And he starts the year pretty well, and then the following year gets hurt in literally the first game or second game. And then the year after that, plays 74 games for Toronto and Atlanta and wins the championship. So his durability is questionable, but it's really only been 3 years where he's been like, I wouldn't even say 3. It's probably been like 2. It was 2 years. It was 2 years out of his career where he was like hurt. And he's played for 10 years, I think.
Yeah, I think he hasn't had, for me, from what I'm looking at on his stats. And I do remember the 2 big injuries for me was, I think one was in Houston to the Lakers. It wasn't a big injury like, an Achilles or anything like that or whatever, but I think it carried over into the Lakers, if I'm not wrong. And the one in Brooklyn, and that was the second game of the season. I think he was out for most of that season.
He was out the whole season. I think he either tore his ACL or something.
Yeah, he was gone for most of the season.
And that, what's funny is that led to D'Angelo starting, which led to then D'Angelo starting the next year. Brooklyn sort of gets this swell of like momentum. People want to. There's a whole lot of things that happen in order for Brooklyn to be where they are today. One of them is Jeremy Lin getting hurt.
Jeremy Lin was the catalyst of all of that.
Funny enough, like him getting hurt opened the door.
for everybody.
It opens the door because we traded. I think the year before Lynn comes, or the same year, we trade Brook Lopez, our franchise leader in points, mind you. We trade him away to LA for D'Angelo Russell and somebody else. It's like a draft pick or something like that. And then D'Angelo starting behind Jeremy. That was our confidence the Nets had in Jeremy Lin. D'Angelo started behind Jeremy Lin. And then he got hurt. And now D'Angelo is like worth a lot of money because people realized he's a really good basketball player.
That's all it needs sometimes, just for a player to actually get a shot. You know what I mean? And he made the most of it.
He did.
He made the most of it, as you should.
No, 100% as you should. Now D'Angelo's getting. This is his second year of his contract. He's making $28 million this year.
Yeah, and that's chump change.
So, and that's mid tier. Like if we look at some of the guys who are bigger, like they worth. So like the Knicks are gonna have to pay Julius Randle at least minimum about $30 million.
Oh yeah,
about $30 million.
I agree. If they want him to stay.
Yeah, and that's why I say they need to get someone budget friendly. Like you can't go. I would love for the Knicks to get Kawhi. In my wildest like dream, I had told a friend of mine, I was like, it would be perfect if the Knicks get Kawhi and then Kawhi and Randall try to recruit Oladipo, and then you have a big three in Oladipo, Kawhi, and Randall. I'm like, that's perfect for the Knicks.
I honestly don't even I wouldn't want Kawhi to come to New York. And I know it sounds crazy, but I don't think Kawhi is going to, because I mean, look, I would say that if the Clippers were in better shape than what they are right now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I just feel like Kawhi is he's super talented. Yes, he is. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to meld, because the reason why the Knicks are as successful as they are right now is because the camaraderie that they have from every guy on that team in that locker room is 100%. If you bring somebody in and they don't gel with that camaraderie, everything falls apart. And it looks like it's Kawhi that did it.
Yeah, I agree and disagree in some aspects because here's what I'll say. People say the same thing about the Nets now when they're like, oh, the Knicks have a better culture than the Nets. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes all the way.
You know that is true.
It is 100% false.
You know
that. But here's what I will say, because people's argument is like, oh, but the Nets traded away everything that made their culture. And it's like, well, maybe. You know, they like, oh, they got rid of the coach. I was like, yeah, but the GM is the one that is setting the culture. Like Sean Marks is still there.
Right.
You know, the coach and him together helped build what the Nets were. But at the end of the day, Sean Marks is still there. Like the chief architect of the culture is still there. And because of that culture, we were able to get people like Harden, and then people are upset because they're like, oh, the Nets are cheating. It's not cheating if the players want to come to us. Like if I go to free agency and Kawhi comes to me and says, I want to play for you. Like if Kawhi came to us, the Nets in the free agency, right? And they're like, oh, I want to play for you. It would be stupid of the Nets not to be like, is there some way we could make this work? Like the Nets are not going to go, you know what? Nah, that'd be cheating. The NBA, they would hate us for it. No, they're not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. So when Harden says, I want to come to the Nets, Sean Marks goes, how can I, like, if there's a possibility, right? In some fantasy world, could this be real? And sure enough, in my opinion, who should be exec of the year? Sean Marks pulls off probably one of the wildest trades in the NBA in a very long time.
I agree. I agree. I actually, look, at the end of the day, it's, and I said it. I'm not mad at the fact that the Nets have stacked all of these players. You know, and I say stacked because, yeah,
They 100% stacked. No, I'm with you there.
yeah. If the players don't mind coming, then so be it. You know what I mean? It's nothing you can do about it. Did they give away their unborn and do it? Yeah, I think they gave away everything to do it. But
I think so too.
they have achieved what they think is the team to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, if this team does not win a chip, there's no excuse. There is
You
no,
know, yes.
there is no, oh well, we were injury plagued. Oh well, we were
Well,
this.
here's the thing. You're right. You are right. But you are also slightly wrong. I'm not saying that the Nets deserve an excuse. If they lose, they're gonna have to answer to a lot of people because they really stacked the cards in their favor this year.
High, high.
However, and this is where Steve Nash doesn't get any credit. He was expected to come in and win. They were like, you have Kyrie, you have KD, you have all this bench depth. You should go out there and make the finals with just those guys. And then on top of that, Sean Marks was like, I'm gonna go get you James Harden. Now, mind you, he depleted the depth of the team by doing that, by getting rid of LeVert, by getting rid of Torian, by getting rid of Jared Allen. He really hurt the depth of the team right there. But he said, okay, I'm gonna figure it out and I'm gonna get that depth back. And he did, which is impressive. Again, that's why I give him exec of the year, because he's made it work. He went to the buyout market and he got Blake. He went to the buyout market and he got LaMarcus. Here's where I think Steve Nash deserves more credit. So many unexpected bad things also happened to the Nets this year that people who are just like, no, they still have Harden, blah, blah, blah. They still have KD. They still have Kyrie. They should win. They're not seeing. KD missed about 20, 25 games being hurt. Kyrie was taking time off for time off's sake. And while in some aspects I can understand like that personal time, and he's been better with it lately, at least telling the team, he's taken time off. So Kyrie's missed games. And now Harden has missed the last, I think, 10 to 15 games. He hasn't played since March. So, like, okay, so now you take it to a fact that collectively his stars have missed about almost 35 games, and they've only played 7 games together. The three of them have only played 7 games together this year, right? We've seen KD and Kyrie. We've seen KD and Harden. We've seen Harden and Kyrie. But the three of them have only played 7 games together. Add to the fact that we get LaMarcus Aldridge and he unexpectedly retires. Meaning, like, we couldn't even go after Drummond after that. Drummond's already on the Lakers. We have to reinsert DeAndre, who's not the best defender like he used to be. And somehow, some magical reason, the Nets are the first team in the East. That's why I think Steve Nash should at least be a finalist for Coach of the Year this year. Now, it's tough because there are about 4 coaches that I think should be finalists this year, and only one coach that I truly think should win. And surprisingly, it's not Steve Nash. It's Tom Thibodeau, because the Knicks are in conversations. It's Monty Williams, because the Suns are, probably the best team in the West. It's Quinn Snyder, because the Jazz have the best record in the West. And it's Steve Nash, because throughout all the plight that the Nets have gone through and all the expectations, he somehow still has that team number 1 in the East. Throughout the injuries, throughout everything. Who do I think should win? It should be Monty Williams. Like, Monty Williams, I'm surprised is even still in the NBA. His wife died a couple years ago. He was on the verge of, like, not coaching again. He comes back, coaches the Suns, makes them this huge powerhouse, If the Suns do really well to end the year and they make the playoffs for a deep run, Monty Williams 100% wins it. But I think people disrespect Steve Nash by not even putting him in the conversation. So yes, do I think that the Nets have no excuse for not winning? Yeah, for sure. The Nets should win, 100%. They should win, and we should hold them accountable if they do not. However, do not people dismiss the fact of everything that they had to go through this year.
Why they dismiss it, and no, I don't think they should. But I think the reason why they dismiss it is the fact that you have Kyrie, KD.
Right, you're right, and that's the reason.
It's overshadowed just by the fact that these three guys are on the same team, along with all the other talented individuals that have joined that organization. So, yeah, he gets overshadowed. You know what I mean? Monty Williams, he stands out more because nobody at the beginning of the year, end of last year, expected Phoenix to be as good as they are.
I mean, Phoenix did go 8-0 in the bubble. So people knew Phoenix was going to be a good team coming into this year, but I don't think people expected them to be this team.
That's my point. My point is that Phoenix was good last year.
Mm-hmm.
They are absolutely outstanding this year.
Yeah. No, they're fantastic this year.
So, yeah, I didn't expect Phoenix to be, and that's why I said earlier in the show that my surprise, because everybody's looking at Utah, the Lakers, the Clippers, Denver. For me, kind of coming out of the West, my two teams, ironically, is either Portland or Phoenix.
Funny enough, I have Portland getting washed. I don't know who they wind up playing. I have to look at the standing. I have Portland getting bulldozed by somebody. I don't know who. It might be the Lakers or the Clippers. But
I don't hear you, bro.
Yeah, I hear some of it, but I got the gist of it. Here's Tony. Here's my thing with Portland. It's like they rely on Lillard too much still. Like McCollum is such a good player. And they have pieces, but they rely on Lillard way too much. And their biggest mistake this year is they brought back Nurkic and put him in a starting lineup when all year Enes Kanter has been averaging 11 and almost 12 rebounds for you. So they keep making these mistakes.
Why they disrespected Enes Kanter the way they did? Like, to me, that pulled Portland back a little bit.
It did.
And I agree with the fact that they, and I said this earlier, I agree with the fact that they rely on Lillard too much. And my thing with Portland is if they can play team ball 100%, Portland is one of the hardest teams to beat.
I mean, you saw them play the Nets the other day. It was. I mean, granted, we're a little depleted at the moment, but yeah, they're a tough team to play.
I mean, I think any team with the firepower that they do possess, especially at the guard position, is always gives teams hell because they can score and they can shoot But in the end all, I just think their defense is because they'll allow too many. I think they allow teams to come back on big leads. I think they can't hold it. And I think when they playing against a team that has real good firepower also, I think their defense is what hurts them, I think, in the end. Because they do get scored on.
They do, and Lillard's battling so many injuries.
And they got to look at, too, their backcourt is small, man. Their backcourt average, 6'3", maybe? Because maybe that, if that.
Yeah, but I mean, they usually rise. I mean, but like they said, man, it's their injuries, man. It's not just Lillard. Like, they have a lot of injuries right now, bro. And I think that's going to hurt them once again in the long run, because that's what ended them last year, was injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they can't get a handle on their injuries, that's what's going to be their downfall once again. It's going to be like, okay, once again, we make it to the playoffs. Once again, injuries happen. once again, we go nowhere. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And that's the Achilles heel of the Nets right now, because I honestly think nothing's wrong with Harden. I think the Nets are being super cautious because he retweaked his hamstring even in rehab,
Mhm.
but he has to come back and like be the best version of himself in order for us to bulldoze through the East like people expect us to.
Yo, they would. I think they get to the conference final with just any two of them. But they
That's
need
true.
all three. They need all three of them to win the conference final and win the championship. Without all three, the conference final is where they're gonna
Well,
they're not gonna shine. They need all three of those guys to win. And before we just jump off something, I just want to talk about what Dave talked about earlier when he talked about Jeremy Lin, how he really didn't get the respect because actually Jeremy Lin was one of my favorite players. I just like that type of guard. I just like point guards, but he gave business to people more than he got the business.
100%.
He gave them the business more than he got it. But yet,
100%.
I think because his tenure with the Knicks, it put a bad thought in people's mouth because of the money. And this is a business. Like you should definitely other players should never bitch about somebody else's money. I don't care how much garbage they are, but there's plenty of garbage guys out there getting money and not living up to their money. But I digress on that. I just wanted to mention that because I don't find too many people that like Jeremy Lin and respect his game. But that dude used to give it to he with Charlotte. Everybody was shocked he left Charlotte because how well he was playing at Charlotte.
Yep. He's
He
probably
was
one of the
playing,
most disrespected players in the at least last 10 years for the NBA, for sure.
I just feel like with Jeremy Lin, if he'd have had another year with the Knicks at the level that he was playing with the Knicks, there would have been no argument about the money. I think that the argument with the money was you were only here 2 years.
No, he was only with the Knicks for not even one, like half a year.
I'm talking about in the league. I'm saying he was
only
for 2 years. And you come in wanting all-star money. And
okay, yes.
But you know what? At certain points, though, it's when it comes to the money, it's not about as much as your talent as the market. And it's not like say him being Asian was bringing in a different demographic.
Yep.
Not just at New York, around the world, which
but I agree.
That Asian market around the world was probably double most superstars' popularity.
I would challenge the Knicks to do one thing. I would challenge them to look at what is their single most revenue gaining week since 2010. What if you can pick out 1 week? What made you the most money? I guarantee you, by far, the week that Jeremy Lin exploded into the NBA scene, the Knicks made more money than they ever have in one single week with Jeremy Lin.
Or the day that I actually showed up at the Garden. I mean, people knew I was coming. It was like, the most revenue they probably had seen in any. So on that note,
so I get him asking for the money. He was like, "I'm bringing you guys in so much money."
And that's the reason why certain guys command what they got because of what they generate. Like Jordan. Yeah, Jordan should have really been making $50 million because of what he and you couldn't bitch about it because the money that he was bringing out. Even if the league had to under the table help pay some of the salary, what he generated was worth it. what LeBron generated was worth it. But there's not many. I love Kobe. Kobe wouldn't generate. Kobe was well respected around the world because of his international growing up. But there's not too many people that probably ever really generated NBA wise, besides Jordan and or Magic too at his height. You know, those might have been maybe like the only three. And we have plenty of superstars in this league, but there's only a handful that really captivate and generate revenue to where, you know, the advertisement coming in, and that's what it's all about. It's not only your team advertisement, it's the league advertisement. And that's why those advertisers want that many games of that specific player. We need to have them on TV at least 40, 50 times a year because of what he's able to do for the league, you know, and those are generational players. Those are once in a Zion has the potential to possibly, because already the college career he had and the notoriety, he maybe can have it if he can live up to dominance. If he could be a dominant player, he might have it because he has it. But there's only a handful that had it. Magic, Jordan, LeBron. I don't really see too many more than that. And we got a history of great players that's like super duper great, but they don't have it. Just don't have that, you know. Doc, if he would have got to the league before his time, was, you know, maybe on the downcline a little bit, where his first 3 or 4 years he was still somewhat superior. But if he would have made it to the league earlier, he would have been the first it, you know, that had it. But, you know, who was to say it wouldn't have been a little better if we would have had social media back then? He probably would have had a little bit more. But unfortunately, it's that advantage of the social media is just, man, it's just crazy, man. It's, you know, kids want Michael Jordan stuff and they don't even probably never even see Michael Jordan play before.
Yeah, I think if Jeremy Lin does what he did in 2011 today in today's NBA, he's a superstar for years to come, or he's paid like a superstar for years to come.
You know who he would have been like? He would have been like, he could have had almost that cultural impact, like say someone like Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Because for someone not to be a superstar, his it factor was pretty high.
Right.
Because of his zaniness or whatever. You know, we all know it wasn't damn sure his game, because he was a good defensive rebound player, but because he had that off the court appeal. So and you know, so like I said, there's not many that ever possess that. That's something hard to possess. Even I think, like I said, even the great Kobe Bryant, he was loved worldwide, but he was there though. He was right there.
Right. But like Jeremy Lin put up numbers, like one of the more classic games is when he dropped 38 on the Lakers against Kobe.
And you remember when they first asked Kobe before that about Jeremy Lin, he was like, "Who's that? Who's that?" You know, Kobe. He was like, and then he put those numbers on him. Did you know who he is now?
That's the kind of player. He's the kind of player where, once you get started, it's like, okay, well, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Now, once they find out, they
figure him out, because Darren Williams was the one that kind of like showed the chink. If you just put hard pressure on him, you could disrupt this game. And almost any point guard, hard pressure could change their game. My favorite player, Mark Jackson, until Scottie Pippen put the pressure on Mark, I never really seen anyone really slow Mark game down besides Scottie Pippen. You know, Mark Jackson he was posting Kobe and laying Kobe with posts because he was back then 6'3", but his weight considered, a pretty good.
And it all basically comes down to knowledge, because like I said, once you figure a player out and you apply the type of pressure that you feel like, okay, this is going to stop this dude. I done figured him out. I know how to play him now.
And yo, bro, and just think about it. When Chicago was playing Indiana, their focus wasn't, we got to stop Reggie. No, we got to stop Mark. We got to pick him up full court, and we got to stop Mark. And that's what made it easier for them to beat Indiana, because what they did to Mark. Like, yo, if I'm not on him, Mike is on him. One of them two, we ain't letting Mark run that team.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The general. If you shut down the general, the troops are going to break apart. That's what it was. But anyway, guys, it's after our time, man. We had probably one of the greatest.
Hey, was this 3 hours in, or we a little over 2?
We a little over 2.
Oh, a little over 2. Okay.
Yeah. We had the great debate of DC in the building. I appreciate it.
one of the greatest young brilliant sports minds. Yeah. He can rival anybody.
I'm always up to debate.
I listen to him and I'm like, yo, if you would have been around in the 70s, bro, if you would have had an older pops, you would have been around in the 70s. Like to see, the greats of the 70s and 60s. Yo, bro, you'll have broadcaster mentality, like Marv Albert type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I tread lightly to give those compliments to someone so young.
I appreciate it.
But you have that mind, and it's not just what you know how to research also and prove your points. You know what I'm saying? So you already come to the table with, all right, while I'm in the background, let me look this up. You know what I'm saying?
I call him the great debater because he gets to it quick, bro. I mean, he gets to it fast.
If you know where to look.
Those social media makes it that much easier, bro.
Yeah.
That's what those analytic guys who work for the big networks talking in their earphones. They relaying that messages to the program director, and the program director is telling the guys in front of the camera, such and such. That's them cats, them researchers, man, them cats that know how to go get that info.
Yeah.
Besides the fact what your eyes see, you see this new generation of ball players. You growing up in the computer age with the social media. So right off the bat, you seen it from a different level, opposed to us, here in New York, Channel 9, a Knick game, maybe if you was lucky twice a week, if you was lucky on Channel 9, in the early 70s, but there's many, it can never really be debated because of the errors. And we're going to get off too. First you got to debate the errors, each error. And then you got to somehow try to figure out which player could have played in every era. To me, they could be considered great. And you have played in every era. Because you got to remember, back in them 60s, there was only a few guys with handles that could compete handle-wise. I think the most dominant thing back in them days was bruisers and jump shot guys that they shot well, I think. And you had true point guards back then. Not the Allen Iverson wave of point guard. I call them, I don't know what I call them. I don't call them true point guards because and somebody made a good point on how they deliver and run teams by necessity, or it was something somebody coined a good phrase. I can't remember it, but it was dead on point. You know, where you got 2 point guards that just they were the extension of their coach, and they ran teams. Because these guys don't run teams; they just play. They don't come down. They how often do you see guys holding up 1 and 2, fists closed, or whatever plays? You don't see. You just don't see it. You know, just go out there, do your thing and stuff. But
Yep.
the caliber player though is better than the 60s and 70s, I think. But that's just evolution, man. Things get better, you know. Things
Yeah.
just get, you know. So yeah.
But I want to thank everybody, man, for coming through. You know, holding us down. You know, we definitely want to thank DC for flying through, man.
Word, interesting, man. You made it. You made
Time,
it. You made it real. You made it real, bro. You know, the wifey don't like me when I'm in the car with her and stuff, ignoring her, but I was listening.
Yeah, man, we had a lot of good time in convo, man. I love talking sports with my boys, man, because they actually, and I say this to anybody, man. I will put my kids up against pretty much any sports analyst.
You used to always say that, bro. You always said that.
No,
You know,
the proof is in the pudding, man. People look. I've said it. If anybody know me, I've said it for years. And it's not because of me. My kids actually took the time to study themselves, and they know what they're talking about. I'll put them up against anybody. And I guarantee you, you're gonna go home saying, "Man, that was the most I had to think about in my life."
yo, bro, just the times that I've heard them dialogue without cameras on, talking sports, man. I'm myself, bro. I'm 57, so I'm from that, right under that real good cusp of Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, of kind of like say my ball era. You know what I'm saying? I was, 77 when 76, 77 when they was coming out. I was just entering high school, but although I didn't play high school basketball, I've always played in tournaments because I hung on with guys too that they wanted to be NBA players. I never wanted to be an NBA player. I just like playing and do a move every once in a while to make the crowd be like, damn, oh, you see that pass? To me, that's what I thrived on. I did thrive on that. I like making a nice, clever pass and heads up. That's why I just love point guards so much. It's not too many players that other than the point guard that I really like, other than maybe Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon is it's not too many that I really love. But most of them are all point guards. I respect them. John Stockton. That's probably I to tell you the truth. I like him better than Magic. Not to say he's better than Magic, but Magic had certain things to elevate him to that point, and he was a smart player. So anybody that played point, man, that's my dude. If you play it right, I love those guys, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, man, thank everybody for coming through. I'm gonna say this again. Well, you know what I'm gonna do next week? Next week, I'm not even gonna answer my phone. How about that? I'm not answering text next week. So if y'all send me any questions, I'm not answering it. If you want to chat, you go to the live chat like every other human being, and you watch and talk in there. Okay? It's more interactive. We can see it better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it's missed, you might find somebody that might want to answer it, but I'm not doing it next week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How about this? I'll leave it up to Chucky. If Chucky wants to answer your questions on the phone, I'll let him do it. How about that? If that dog comes to life and answer your question, but But anyway, man, thanks for everybody for coming through, man.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that chimed in.
With our questions. Thanks once again to DC for flying through, taking time out of the schedule.
Anytime.
No doubt.
Presence. I look forward to seeing the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals with my Knicks.
If y'all make it that far, I look forward to that too.
I like that enthusiasm.
I look forward to it too.
I tell you. But I appreciate y'all, man, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, sir.
Talk to y'all later.